the battery died in my car. It was a little Ford Explorer Sport that I bought. Parked it in front of our house. We went on tour for like two plus months. Came back, the car was gone. I was like, what happened to my car? It had gotten towed. I couldn't afford to get it out. And I just was like, I think my golf clubs were in that car. Like years later, we're clearing out the garage and our keyboard player case is like, hey, dude, I found your golf clubs. I'd just thrown them up in the rafters and totally forgotten about them. And so found them again and I was like, oh, I got my clubs. I can play golf now. And so, we decided to play around. And I was so used to just being able to pick the clubs up and just go and play and at least get around. Couldn't hit it. Couldn't get it going. Couldn't do anything. It felt helpless and it was embarrassing. That set me off. So got the bug really bad after that. And then it was like grinding hundreds and hundreds of golf balls until I started to figure it out. And that was just kind of the journey that kind of got it started for me.
Live from the tour bus, man. That's fantastic. You're looking good. You've got your ensemble, your stage ensemble behind you. How does one plan their wardrobe for? Do you have a standard outfit that you perform in, or do you like to mix it up?
This tour, it's been kind of like a one look for the most part, like kind of a rotating base of like the Lululemon pants that I really like, and then that are like stretchy and like moisture wicking.
Yeah,
and then like a couple pairs of kind of other pants that I have that are same, kind of just like stretchy, comfortable, like make you feel they're comfortable to wear on stage. And then a lot of like black t-shirts and black Henleys and some that are like gray or just kind of really base colors. Like the whole band has kind of been like on a either black or white shirts on stage for the most part. So we've done a whole like couple of years where we were wearing these very like colorful, summery designs, and we've gone back to kind of very, kind of like down the middle. So
where are you, and did you play golf today?
I did. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. Played at Columbus Country Club this morning with a bunch
very
of
nice. How was it?
Nice guys. It was great. Really cool course. I'm a big fan of like a kind of a small, under the radar Donald Ross kind of golf course. I love those kind of courses because they're the perfect amount of kind of like fun and challenging, with enough challenging holes in there to make it, really interesting. And I would love it if we had more, Donald Ross courses out west. Obviously there aren't very many. So if any, it's a treat to be able to go around and play them when we're out in Eastern, the Midwest.
Well, that's the advantage of touring, right? You're all over the place. You get to play a lot of good golf courses. So how do you tie in? We've had, other musicians, Drew Holcomb and Ben Rector and the War on Drugs have talked about, definitely tying golf to their tour schedule and making sure that they fit it in. How does it work for you?
It's not part of the scheduling of it. I'll just say that, but it is a big part of once the schedule is presented to me. Like the first thing I do is like go down the list of where we're playing and look at first I look at the days off. So it's like, oh, where are we having days off? Because those are like automatic golf days for me, which is on every day off I'm playing golf. And then if there's certain cities where, I have a friend or somebody that I've met along the way that is at some place that's really cool that we love to play golf every year. I'll like, hey, we're coming like this date, or, just like whoever it is, it's just, I'm hitting them up like, yo, we're going to be in town. Like, if you want to play, like, I'd love to play. It's one of those. And so, and then our guitar player, Micah Brown, the other Micah in the band, he is kind of along for the ride.
Two Micahs.
Like, yeah. And, it's funny because I played with some guys yesterday, and one of them was like, two Micahs, and all day he was a Jewish guy, and all day he's like, wait a sec. And then we got to dinner, like we spent like 6 hours together, and he's like, wait, neither of you guys are Jewish? I was like, no. He's like, I've never met a Micah that's not Jewish. I was like, I'm sorry. What do you want me to say? He's like, oh God. He's like, I feel so let down now. I was like, come on, man.
He's like, get out of here. Right?
He was joking. That was super funny. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So playing a fair amount of golf. Yeah. So your golf network builds, right? You've been touring and doing this for a while. So you've probably got a good contact, where whatever golf town or whatever town you might be in. And it's been interesting. I mean, your career, has been great to follow because it's like taking this sort of golf. Do you think about this now? Like, obviously you're known, for Iration and your music, and, you're for a long time known in that world, but
yeah,
now all these golf sickos know you too. From your, you've done a lot of stuff with No Laying Up, and I do want to dig in on some of that. Sure. So it's been interesting. Now you're like, have you embraced life as a golf influencer?
It's the only time I ever hear that is when I'm with the No Laying Up guys. Are like Sean or someone will be like, dude, you're an influencer now. Like sticking it to me. But it's like, I guess, I mean, it all really started like with Harry Arnett and that whole crew at Callaway that, they were the first ones that really kind of like, were like, hey, like, you guys play golf? Like, we'd love to like come play. They did that program Callaway Live for a long time, and it was when Harry was there and that whole crew of his people, and it was like they brought us in and we loved it, and it was like an awesome partnership that worked for a long time. And then that was kind of the start of everything, and we ended up meeting a lot of people in the world. It was like the Bryan brothers and like a lot of golfers and guys on tour, and that was kind of like our initial in to the whole golf industry. Outside of like before that was just playing a lot, and we had some connections through one of my good friends that was in the band before, Joseph King. His mom was Mary B. Porter King, who's was a USGA, LPGA, like one of the early LPGA players. She's like first lady of golf. She's in the RNA. She's a USGA board member. She's like everybody knows her in the golf world. So through her, we met a lot of really great, like a lot of the great women of the LPGA. It's like Meg Mallon, Beth Daniel, Ari Webb, like that whole crew of women. Like we played golf with them and like got to know them. And so it's just like started like in this kind of small insular thing, and then it versioned outward. And it's been pretty awesome. I mean, I love it. Obviously for me as a golfer, like it's pretty incredible. Like, it's kind of a joke. Like sometimes when I sit down and talk to the like guys today, or sitting down after the round and just talking, and they're asking me like, "Oh, where have you played on this tour?" And I'm like, "Dude, I feel embarrassed like saying some of the places that we're getting to play, because I was one of those people that looked at a top 100 list and was like, I'll never get to play here, like any of these places, and like, maybe I'll get to play some of these public tracks." And it's like, you get to do, you get these experiences, and a lot of times it's like surreal. You get to go and play these places that they almost seem like imaginary, mystical places, and very lucky. I just say, hey,
I hear you, man.
Make the most of it.
You and me both. Thinking someday I'd ever play like any of these golf courses on those lists. So, man, your golf network is strong and quite strong. I didn't realize the LPGA and connection. And of course, now I have to ask you, since people are asking, where have you played on this tour?
Oh man, here we go. This is going to be like, everyone's going to get mad at me and like hate me, but it's so we started in Texas. So we'll go down the list here. We started in Texas. I played a little muni in Houston. I think it was called Gus something. Oh man, I can't remember it now, but it was really cool. Little muni. Then we went into Florida, played at Hammock Beach, played at TPC Sawgrass. Did not pay for it. Luckily, I'm lucky to know some people. There's tour guys that have the free rounds. I would never pay that premium for a round. I mean, it's kind of crazy. Played at Timuquana with Chris Solly, which is an awesome place. Sure. And then we went up the coast, played at the Country Club of Charleston. Then went up a little bit further and played at Pine Valley. And
did you?
Then we played at Deal.
Did you have a show in Philly?
I did, yeah. We had a show in Philly, and so I've actually played the morning of the show, which was that's okay. We're always back. We come back.
Sorry, I missed that.
Oh, that's okay. It was a Tuesday night or Wednesday night, so it was kind of a random night. But
I haven't been around a bunch, but I will catch you next time.
And there was crazy weather coming through around that time too. But yeah, so then we went to Deal, which is right next to Hollywood in kind of Asbury Park area, which was down the road, super cool little course. And then I was at Oakmont yesterday, and then today at Columbus Country Club. So yeah, and it's not done, and we're not done yet. I'm playing at Beverly Country Club and Monday in Chicago, and then we're playing this new David McClay Kid course, like in the Sand Hills in Nebraska on Wednesday. So that's next, that's like in a 2.5 week stretch. I'm of like a crazy amount of insane golf, and I know people are in their cars going like, F this guy. Like, I can't believe, why does this absolute like
no, they're not
turd get to play all these courses?
I'm never listening to his music.
Trust me, I get it. I get it. When I hear people talk about it too, it makes me mad. So I'm like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but hey, I'm so lucky. Like, it's honestly a joke.
It's great. No, and you appreciate it. And
I do. I really do.
And you actually share it with people, so it's great.
Yeah. And the people we meet there are like some of the greatest people. Like, they're just like these great people in golf that are just like really genuinely good people. And like, it's more about like having the round together and like having that time where we're just like talking, catching up. We're playing golf, and it's obviously a lot of it is like great golf, but it's like you're making friendships, and like a lot of these people we met them through golf, and then we like have stayed in touch for years and years and years, and it's like you just become friends, and that's golf to me. It's like that's what it's all about, and what this whole thing is about, I think. Yeah.
And hey, that you happen to be playing at pretty good places, there's nothing wrong with that. Tell me, how did Oakmont go?
Oakmont went way better than it was okay. I always have a goal, like, I have the idea. I played much better at Oakmont than I did at Pine Valley. Pine Valley was a very, very tough day for me. But like I said, no matter how I'm playing, I like make it a point, like, not to be I'm never that upset. Like, never, I'm not an angry golfer ever, really. So it's like, as long as I'm playing golf, I'm happy and in a good mood. So it's like either way, it's enjoyable for me. And so I played fairly well at Oakmont. I was happy about that. Not so much at Pine Valley.
Well, no, there's nothing better than playing well at Oakmont, so that you're, that's the place you really, well, not that you don't want to enjoy Pine Valley either, but Oakmont is you get to walk off of that feeling like you didn't get totally destroyed is it's a very good feeling. And
you feel like a real golfer. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And I can get around this place. So we would love to, we're so happy to have you on the podcast, and you're welcome to come anytime. But specifically now, as a Golfers Journal contributor, we wanted to make sure that we spoke to you about this wonderful story you wrote for 29. So along with musician and music celebrity, we can and golf influencer, we can add now author to the list. So there you go. So that's great. So yeah, in 29, you wrote our yardage book about Soule Park. First, tell me a little bit about the experience of just of being asked to write a story, and what was that like as a someone who writes music and as a performer. What was the experience of sitting down and trying to write, put those paragraphs together?
Yeah. So, Travis, hit me up, Travis Hill, and was like, "Hey, Mike, I got your number from someone, DJ or somebody." And it's like, "Hey, I would like, ask me to do, would you like to write this story about Soule Park for, the Golfers Journal?" And I was like, whoa. Like, at first it was like, I haven't written anything longer than an email or a song. Like, since college. And so it was a bit daunting, like, wait, can I do this? Can I write? Like, I've had this dream of writing, that I wanted to write, a book. And besides, funny story, my mom saw a psychic when I was like 17 or 16 years old in high school. Some psychic, this Hawaiian woman, came around and did sessions, and she's like, your son is going to write a book called What Not to Do with Your Life. And I was like, she told me that. I was like, I don't know if that's good or bad, first of all. And then secondly, like, now I kind of have to write that book because she said it, like, she put it out there, like, and I don't know what the book would be, but it's like, so that was always in my mind. Like, so at some point I'd love to write something longer form, whether it be a screenplay, a book, something like that. But
sure,
where do you start? You know what I mean? Like, I'm a songwriter. That's what I do. I write phrases and lines, and it's more like poetry than it is a book or a story. So, long form stuff. So it was daunting, but I was like, you know what? I like to feel uncomfortable. I like to push. I want to push myself to do something that out of the comfort zone. So I said yes. And obviously Soule Park and golf are something I feel like two things I feel like I can, speak to, and, having a lot of experience with. And so, yeah, it was a great experience. I was in Hawaii at the time, on visiting my family and my mom, and with my family. And so I was just kind of like in the morning, I would just sit down in the living room, and the kids would be running around in the living room, and I'd just get on my mom's PC in the living room and just kind of zone into the computer and go and just write as much as I could. And then I'd take a break and we'd go do something, and I'd come back and write. Whenever I had little pockets of time, I would just write and write and write. And Travis was awesome, an awesome editor. He like made me sound cogent and like made me sound like I knew what I was doing as a writer. I'll just be honest. It didn't look like that when I wrote it, but I know that's the job of an editor. And, so yeah, I really appreciated it. It was a really cool opportunity. And for me, it's like, I feel unworthy of it, but it's, same. It's like playing Pine Valley. Or Oakmont. It's like, listen, do I feel like I'm like worthy of playing these places and doing these things? Not really, but I accept, and I will enjoy it and make the most out of it and kind of take it for what it is.
It's a great way of looking at a Poosh, and Travis does the same for me as well. And it turned out wonderfully. It's the first story in number 29, and you should be proud of it. We're proud of it to publish it. So Soule Park, there's, it's a really well-researched story. You give us a lot of the backstory and how it came about. In the story, you refer to it as, the best muni in America. What is so special about the place?
Well, for me, I kind of referenced it in the story, but like, I spent a lot of years playing everywhere else in Santa Barbara, in that area, and kind of all around Southern California, not quite into LA, maybe as south as Rustic Canyon and places like that, Angeles National, and then north is San Luis Obispo, but not a ton, mostly Sandpiper. I live very close to that golf course in Santa Barbara, so I played it a lot, and it just never found a community. Like, there was never a group of, like, my group of 4 guys that were in my band, or tour manager, guys that I worked with. And they all kind of slowly moved out of town. And then it was like, where's my golf group? I don't have one anymore. And my buddy Parker was like, hey, let's go play at Soule. And I played it once before, and I always thought it was really cool. And I knew that it was a Gil Hance, golf course. And I have met Gil and have a lot of respect for him, obviously, as like one of the best minds and artists in golf. And so, I always thought it was really cool, but I had never really like delved into it. Just played it once or twice and kind of like enjoyed it. And then we went down and had a game, and I really was like, wow, I really like this golf course. Like, it's just fun. It's, I'm hitting way more different shots than I'm usually hitting at the other places I play. And the group of guys that we played with were awesome, like super nice, cool, like golf geek guys that are like just like me, that are into all the minutia and the they listen to all the podcasts and they read the Golfer's Journal, and, everybody was kind of it felt familiar and familial. So, that was the the thing that kicked it off for me. And so I joined the men's club there and started playing out of Soule Park. And, I loved it. And I played, especially it was like kind of the back end of COVID, 2020, 2021. It was like golf was like really, the one thing that everybody was doing that felt, say if I had a little baby, it was one of those things where I felt like I could go and do that and feel comfortable and going home to seeing my baby. And then, the group of guys just kept expanding, and the club was awesome. And they have like these monthly tournaments, and just kept really reignited my kind of love for golf again. After having had the bug like 10 plus years previous, it was like kind of gave me the bug again, to where I wanted to practice. I wanted to get better. I wanted to play. And, that was kind of the whole start of it. And not to mention, it's like in one of the most beautiful places in Southern California, in the Ojai Valley, and plays in between a valley with rivers flowing around it, and there's beautiful sunset. It's, it's just one of those special places, and it just resonated with me.
Yeah. I mean, the story, you talk a lot about the vibe there, and which makes me certainly want to go and check it out. Talk a little bit about the vibe, and how do you think more places can get that vibe? Because we play all these different golf courses, and the vibe can be all over the place. It can be a place you want to hang out and you can't wait to get back to, or it can be a place where you're like, okay, I'm glad I checked that off the list, but don't need to run back. But Soule Park seems comfortable. And how do you create like that comfortable vibe at a golf course?
Yeah, I think, Keith Brown, who is, the owner and general manager of it, like that's been running it for the last, 10 plus years, is really, he's a big part of that, which was in reference in the story as well. He just did a great job of making it what it is, and leaning into it. Like, listen, these guys all live in the area. They live in Ojai. The people that play there are normal people. They're surfers, they're servers, they're normal everyday folk, right? It's not a country club, and it's just a normal place. The rounds are $38 on the week to walk, and most people walk. And he just got rid of all the signs. Like, you can wear a t-shirt. There's no dress code. You can bring your dog if you want to. You can walk with your dog on the golf course. Everything is just about being reasonable and being respectful, and, under the guise of normal golf etiquette. Like, you can have beers, you can do whatever, you can be whatever you want it to be, but like, just within reason, and it's just, he really nailed it. And he listened to the people that were playing the golf course. I think that was what a big part of it is. He made a board of guys, and some of the guys that are on it are guys that I play with all the time that are really into kind of this modern movement of golf. Sorry, I hit the microphone. Modern movement of golf, which is like the architecture matters, the setup matters, thoughtful design, thoughtful, use of, just thinking about the way that we're playing it, and making sure people are having fun with golf, and not about, it doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be this crusty thing. And so he did a really good job of just listening. And so, he renovated the whole patio area and made it a really, like, the food is good. It's priced, everything's priced reasonably. And it is a really cool place to be. And on top of that, it's just it is gorgeous. So the views that you get there, like, when we're playing, we'll come off 9 green and walk to the 10th, and the patio is packed like almost every day. And it's people that are just having a lunch break. They're not even playing golf. They're just there to have lunch and look at the view. So yeah, I think
that's perfect.
When you're talking about it, it's like, you can go to these places that have great architecture all over the country and are probably equal even equally beautiful spots, but a lot of times that energy that's in there with the people that are running it, the energy around the golf course is not the same. And that's, what brings you back, honestly. It's like that's what makes it special.
It is what brings you back. And I love that part in the story where you talk about when the signs were removed, that there was at one point signs, can't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And it made me think, like, I'm involved in a golf course now, and I love to put up signs, just because my membership does, or the golfers we have, sometimes it's their first time playing, or it's their first time at the golf course. And so there's like, oh my God, that guy just drove onto the tee, or like, the cart, you can't take a cart there. So honestly, signs are required if you have golf carts. Like off the bat, when you're saying most people walk, that alleviates the need for like 98% of signage.
Yes.
But it's, what a nice way of thinking about it. Yeah. And it made me think, I don't need to like tell everyone what to do. Like they're up here and, go enjoy yourself, and how just something as simple as a don't go here, don't go there can just sort of create a different kind of feeling. Yeah, I'll have to talk to my superintendent about that.
I also think that like there's something decidedly like Southern California about that, and the fact that it is a public muni, that it kind of allows you to be a little bit more, free form in the way that you kind of address those kind of issues. I know, like, when you have a membership that's paying money to be at a club, that's another thing, right? You're kind of at the behest of like whatever they want and whatever the general feeling is. And it's like if you're playing at a club, yes, like you expect to be able to play at a certain, time par. You want to be able to get around fast. You expect the golf course to be in good shape. You expect people to be reasonable, obviously there's dress codes and things like that. And, that, that's just part of whatever they want it to be, and from the social aspect of it. And I get that. That's totally fine with me. I don't mind doing that either. And it's part of the experience of going to some of these, great country clubs and stuff. But for a place like Soule Park, it just feels right to like, let it be what it is, and just say, listen, this is a Southern California municipal golf, public golf course in a hippie town full of artists. Like for the most part, it's like a ton of like artists, there are some celebs and musicians and that kind of are in there, but it's like a lot of people that are just they live in the Ojai Valley. It's a tiny little Southern California valley, outside of Ventura, California. And so it's like, it is what it is. Just let it be that. Let it be, what it wants to be, and don't try to force people to act in a way that they don't normally act in their daily lives, and they don't really want to act. They want to go there and play golf and dress how they want to dress, and have a cocktail or do whatever it is they do, and let them do it. I think that's like the whole MO there. So.
No, that's the key to the vibe for a golf course. Like, know who's playing there and then let them be themselves. And I think that there are those places in golf where you go and you sort of like exhale because you just feel like, this is my spot. Like, this is where, people get me, or where I can be myself. And sometimes it's a muni, sometimes it's not, whatever. But it's great to find those places that are out, when you're out there. There are power lines at Soule Park, as there are at many great courses. Tell me about, in the story, you said you hit a power line twice. Is that true? Because that's amazing.
Yeah. I hit it. Well, I've hit it more than twice over the years, but I hit it twice in a row, which was, I don't know. I've never seen anybody else hit it twice in a row, which is
that's insane.
It took me like a full year of playing it to hit it once. And then I hit it like 8 times, in like a 6-month span after that. It's like, once you hit it one time, you're like destined to hit it again. But yeah, it's one of those things. And, we mentioned in the story where it's like, it's what gives it, it's one of those muni tropes where it's like, yeah, there's a a power line that's going straight through the middle of the teen area on number 5. And you're like, this is not something you'd see on any, top 100 golf course in the country, but it's like, it's there. And it's a local rule. You hit it, you get to re-tee, free re-tee. And, by the same standard, it's an amazing hole. Was once a par 4. It's kind of become a par 4. It's more like a par 4.5, really. Plays as a par 5, but effectively a long par 4, with a big punch bowl green. And it's like, you just don't see punch bowl greens in public courses anywhere, really. Maybe there's a few out there, where the Charleston Munis and the Rainers that are kind of also those kind of unicorn public courses that are out there. But it's just such a great hole. And, I've hit it all over that hole, every which way, played it every, way imaginable to play the hole. And it's always just one of those holes where you get there and you look forward to playing it. You're like, I can't wait to play 4 and 5 right in a row. 2 great short par 4s that are gettable. And it's like, every time you're there, you're like, oh, maybe today I'll make an eagle. This is the hole where you can make an eagle. You can make a birdie. You can also make a double bogey or worse. And so there's OB, fence up the left side, up the right, right is another hole. But then when you get to the green, there's this beautiful river that kind of comes together there. And you stand on the green and you hear the river, the babbling brook, so to speak. There's like water flowing and you're going, dude, I paid $38 to play this golf course today. I'm sitting on this punch bowl green. It's a massive green. And there's water flowing like directly right up against the green, right around you. And it's like one of those days I was playing there and water flowing next to the green. I'm on the green. It's beautiful. And there's like snow on the mountains around in Ojai. And I was like, this is a joke. Like, this is incredible. I wouldn't want to play anywhere else. Like, this is as good as it gets in golf. And so, yeah, it's like, you have those moments out there where it's almost surreal that the value that you're getting there.
Fantastic. Does it remind you? So you grew up playing in Hawaii. Are there moments out there that remind you? Because I think when people think of golf in Hawaii, they think of lush rainbows, what they see kind of on TV when the tour is out there, beaches and palm trees and things like that. Was that the golf scene that you grew up around? Describe for me the golf scene in Hawaii as you know it.
So I grew up in Hawaii, and my dad worked on a sugar plantation. That was a big thing in Hawaii when I was a kid, which was all the islands were producing sugar. A lot of it was for CNH sugar. And so there was a little 9-hole golf course that right in my hometown in Honoka'a, and we would sometimes play that. It was just a big hill with 9 holes on it, and it was kind of random. I'm not sure whoever designed it was probably just some guys put some flags and built some greens back in the day. And then I started playing junior golf when I was 8 or 9, maybe 10 years old. My dad would play your standard 100, shoot 100, drink 6 or 7 beers with his buddies, and gamble a little bit, and gamble a little bit, and talk shit. And it was like I would go around. I would be along for the ride a lot and play along with them. And after I started playing junior golf, and I got better quickly. Started shooting. I quickly was better than my dad. Right off the bat, once I started getting lessons and started understanding how to swing the club, and kind of just started getting into the game. Played junior golf for a few years, and then I just played a lot as just for fun, like with my dad and with some of my friends. And most of the golf, we had a course that was close to my house called Waimea Country Club, and it was this different than what your normal Hawaiian golf is, which is in the lava rock, especially on the Big Island. You play through the lava rocks, and it's these lush green courses that play through black lava rock. And so
Right.
they have this kind of striking look to them. The course where I played was very much like a parkland golf course in the woods and through the fields. Very rainy, wet all the time. It's now gone. It's a literal cow pasture now, but it was an awesome place. They had these little par threes where you'd play over these ponds in the middle of a kind of a hollow in the woods, and you'd hit over these ponds, and these greens had a tree in the middle of the green. And I just remember always feeling like, wow, this is like magical. You know, it felt like it felt like fake, like Disney-esque when you're in there. And it's like, this is so cool that we have this. And then that was kind of what ignited the initial, like this is a really, cool place, this escapist kind of thing that happens with golf, where you're like, when you're out there, sometimes you feel like you're in another world or you're in another country or something like that. And I think that's kind of what I tried to tie that feeling into the feeling of Ojai and going into Soule, which was the same feeling that I would get when we would go down into Waipio Valley with my dad, and these magical places where there's natural beauty and there's just a different energy, and where the kind of nature is so powerful that that's really what affects you, is more than anything, is just this kind of surreal beauty. And that was it. And that's, it wasn't the standard golf, Hawaiian golf that you think. It was a lot more of like normal parkland woodland golf, but just in Hawaii. Just happened to be right close to my house.
Pretty nice. So you talk in the story about, you played when you were younger, and then there's some time, then you put the clubs away for a while. And you talk about, doing some, being on tour, doing some, maybe wanted to find a pastime or a hobby that's less abusive on one's body than tour life. What was that period like? And how did golf sort of maybe take you in a different path?
Yeah, I think it started with, I put the clubs away because I was broke. Let's just, to be honest with you, it was going from college
Sure.
to working a telephone sales job, your typical, what can I do and play music on the side job. My buddies were all bartending. I just never was in the service industry. And so that was what I did. It was just found a job, stuck with it, and couldn't afford to play golf. I had my golf clubs with me that I had from high school. We started touring. We started going on tour. I lost them. I honestly thought I actually had a car that we went on tour. The battery died in my car. It was a little Ford Explorer Sport that I bought when I got the job. I was like, all right, I bought my first car. I'm doing it, Dad. And then battery died, parked it in front of our house. We went on tour for 2+ months, gone. Came back, the car was gone. I was like, what happened to my car? It had gotten towed. I couldn't afford to get it out. So I was like, I can't afford, I'm broke. I'm living off of $20 a day and, McDonald's dollar menu and all that stuff. So it was like, I can't get the car out. The car is gone, repoed. I'm like, okay. I think my golf clubs were in that car. I was like, my PC, I had all this stuff from my computer from college. I had I wrote a thesis. I had all these pictures and music and stuff there on the computer. I was like, it's all gone. And just figured it was gone. And then we, years later, we moved out of the house. The band all lived in this house together. We moved out of the house and we're clearing out the garage, and our keyboard player Casey's like, hey dude, I found your golf clubs. I'd just thrown them up in the rafters and totally forgotten about them. And so found them again, and I was like, oh, I got my clubs. I can play golf now. And so, we decided to play around. And like I said in the story, I was so used to just being able to pick the clubs up and just go and play and at least get around. And, whether or not I'm scoring well, it wasn't a big deal, but I could at least hit the ball. Couldn't hit it. Couldn't get it going. Couldn't do anything. It felt helpless. And it was embarrassing because my buddies were all playing, and they were like, I'm the worst, by far the worst golfer in the group, and I'm straggling behind. I'm not finishing the holes. They're all playing ahead of me, and like I'm struggling to like keep up with them. It was like one of those moments where I got a big serving of humility, and that kind of, I'm like, that set the competitiveness in me as, an athlete that I grew up playing sports my whole life. So it was like that set me off. Like, I don't like being the worst guy. So got the bug really bad after that. And then it was like grinding, like going to the range for hours and hours and hours and just hitting balls. No lessons, couldn't afford a lesson, but I was still just hitting balls, like hundreds and hundreds of golf balls until I started to figure it out, and eventually started getting better. And that was just kind of the journey that kind of got it started for me.
So I always like to talk when I'm talking to a performer. I always find it interesting. I mean, in your life, you get up in front of all these people and do your thing. And that would be terrifying for most of us. So do you get nervous, on a golf course?
Oh, I get way more nervous on the golf course than I do playing music or anything else, really. I think hitting golf shots in front of people is one of the most nerve-wracking things in the world, because it's like you're just imagining like the worst, like what's the worst possible thing can happen. It's like in music, I'm so comfortable and I have my band, it's like you have the band. So it's like, even if I screw up, like I have them, to carry it through or to, pick things up. In golf, it's like, that's just you. All eyes are on you. And, the expectation is there to hit a shot. And, oh no, I've like some of the most most nerves I've ever felt in my life are hitting golf shots in front of people. It is nervous.
Wow.
It's one of those things where you're like, you get over the ball and you're like, oh my God, like this is legitimately scary.
No, I think anyone listening knows that feeling for sure. But the performance anxiety, it's fascinating. Yeah. Like there are other parts of, our lives where you'd say, oh, do you get anxious about talking there or doing that? It's still, when it comes down to people watching you hit a golf ball, I don't get as nervous as I used to. I've kind of hit enough terrible shots that in front of important people. I mean, I hit a shot when they were opening St. Lucia, the Core Crenshaw course down there at Cabot. We had the chance to like, okay, who wants to hit the shot on this hole is going to be the first shot hit on the hole. And Bill Core and Ben Crenshaw are there, and no one raised their hand. I raised my hand, and I just cold topped it off a cliff and opened the golf course with open, and so I like, yeah, thank you. Now your golf course is officially open. I christened the flying wasp. So like after that, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to get nervous anymore, because that's about as embarrassed as I can get. So, but it is an anxiety inducing thing. And you know what else can create anxiety is playing with your friends from No Laying Up, because there's usually a camera around, and I've had my fair share of golf with the boys, and it's always a good time. But I'm curious, tell me, which member of No Laying Up would you most like to play a match against, and which member would you least like to play a match against? And I'll tell you mine.
Well, I have matches, like open matches with all of them. So we have running counts. I have running counts with every member outside of Cody and Ben. I have not played against them, or KBB. But I actually do pretty well against Tron, TC, and DJ. I have a good records against them. Yeah. TC, he hasn't got me yet, but Randy is my kryptonite. So I beat his ass at his home course in Hyde Park in Cincinnati. Beat him, and he went on a tear after that. I basically haven't beat him since. And we've had like ties, halves, whatever you want to call it, but I haven't beat him since. And it's been like 8 or 9 straight matches or something where I just haven't been able to beat him. And it's one of the most frustrating things I've ever experienced. Solly's got, we just played him I just played Solly. He's up fine to play against. He's a really good player. So Solly, it's like, you just have to play your game and play well. And you can beat Solly because he's going to be giving you pops because he plays off like +1 or 2. But Randy is like in this sweet spot where he's like a 7 to a 9. So I end up giving him like 6 or 7 a lot of times. And it's like, he's just 4 for 3s you to death. And it's really, really hard to play against him. So Randy, I love playing with him. He's always like, Poosh, I love playing with you because you always bring the best out of me. And he's always like so happy and like beating me. And I'm just like, oh, man. I love the guy, but it's like, I need him to like break down once. It just doesn't.
Wow. That's fascinating because I would say the match I'd least want to take on is TC. And maybe that's because I have some baggage. We had a match at a hoopy, not to course drop, as you're saying. People are like, oh, screw you, a hoopy. And I understand that. But we were out there in December for a thing, and I had a match against TC, and he's such a grinder. And, you know,
TC the
you
rat.
kind of, you think like on the tee, you're like, I got this, right? And then I was up a hole or down a hole, up a hole, and it was going along, but I was like, whatever, I should be able to pull this out. And then he'll just pull a shot out of nowhere where you're like, you have no earthly right hitting that golf shot. And then next thing you know, you're down 2 and it's game over. So that's been my experience. TC the grinder, much respect. I'd probably want to play against, I would say maybe Neil, because I wouldn't like, he might have to give me a shot, or there wouldn't be a lot of shots involved.
Yeah.
And I feel like along the way, he's probably going to like, you love it in your matches when someone gives you a hole. Like TC doesn't, in my experience, hasn't like given away too many holes, and maybe Neil would. Sometimes just giving away one is all you need. So
Neil's a little bit more of a high variance player. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that can be fun in match play where you're just like, all right, if I just hold on, I'm gonna just do my thing. I'm gonna get a couple. But hey guys, we love all of you and hope to play more golf with you. Before I let you go, well, first, since you're a musician, I have to the requisite question: music, yes or no, on the golf course?
I'm pretty agnostic, honestly. Like I actually don't listen to music on the golf course, mainly just because I kind of find that a lot with musicians is like we hear so much music and we're around so much music that it's like nice to be the sound. I like the sounds of golf. Like I like the sound of the ball and nature, and that's kind of why I'm out there, is like to hear the sounds of like what's happening around you. But I don't care. Like if somebody plays music, it really doesn't affect me either way. So I'm pretty agnostic with it. If somebody wants to play tunes, I'm totally cool with that. And if somebody, it changes the vibe though. I will say, like, it's like if someone's playing music, then it's probably going to be like a loose, you're not probably grinding. It's just like, oh, we're just listening to tunes and maybe having a beer or two and just, it's like a fun round. Whereas like, sometimes it's like, we're going to have a match. We're going to make some putts and we're going to have to hit some golf shots, and it's going to be like a little edge of competition. So maybe there is no tunes going. It's like, whispering to each other on the side, we got this.
Yeah. Right. But if I wanted to get in your head, would I play your music? Would that
yes. That happens a lot to me. You'd be surprised. Like people doing that to me, like,
Really?
hey, like in a big moment, and like it's a big shot or something, and then all of a sudden here comes like one of our songs, like blasting out of the opponent's cart, and it's like, okay, I know what you're doing, It's like, lucky for me, I literally play this song every night, so it's like you're not going to really get in my head about it, but yeah,
right.
But it's fun. It's all good,
Poosh, leave us with a happy story, and I'm teeing you up for this one. Were you the first person to have a hole-in-one at Shorty's? I think you might. Was it the first? It was on the first day, I think.
It was so we asked, and they're like, "You're second." So second ever ace on Shorty's. I know. I don't know who the first guy was. It's funny though. Another guy made one after me, and I have like I guess we're like 2 degrees of Kevin Bacon kind of deal where we know people that know each other, and he's like hit me up on like DM me on Instagram, be like, "Hey, dude, we made hole-in-ones on the same day." So yeah, we were playing Shorty's, the opening day of Shorty's at Bandon I was there with the No Lane Up guys, and yeah, little 56 wedge, dunked it, went straight into the hole. It's my first ever hole-in-one. They don't count it. They're like, that doesn't count. It's a short course. So I was like, all right, I'm not buying you guys drinks then. Yeah. Oh yeah, everybody else does.
Hey, at the Golfers Journal, we count it. So no laying up, take that. All right, that's all. That's all I'm going to say. And you're welcome over here to make hole-in-ones on short courses.
It went in the hole. It was marked as a 1 on the card. That's all that matters to me. Like,
you hit it once.
I hit it one time. I never had a 1 in anywhere else. I've made shots from the fairway. Never made a 1 before. So I count it personally for my own records. But when I make one on a big course, on a 18-hole golf course that's not a short course, then I'll probably rank that one maybe above it. But right now, it was a super cool moment. It was super fun. And, it was on film, which is, doesn't hurt. And with
exactly.
buddies, with a bunch of buddies. And so, yeah, it was, and at a great place. Like, you want to make a hole-in-one, like at Bandon Dunes Resort is probably up there for anybody.
Indeed it is. Well done. Did they give you something? Did you get something like a little?
They said that they took my address and stuff, and they're like, "We're going to send you a plaque or something." And I don't know. Maybe they will now.
Now they will. See, no. Paging Bandon Dunes.
Not that I'm thinking about it or anything.
Yeah, not that I recall. No, that's fantastic. Poosh, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks so much for writing for the Golfers Journal, for being a Golfers Journal contributor, for supporting what we do. And we love what you do. And we hope we can do more together.
I love that. And thank you guys. Really appreciate what you guys do. Big fan of the Golfers Journal. I was early subscriber to probably the first release of the Golfers Journal. And I've given it away as a gift. It's actually a great golf gift. If you guys are looking for gifts, you gift us year subscription to the Golfers Journal. I've done that for a lot of people that I have met in the golfing world. So thank you for letting me do it. Thank you for trusting me that I'm not going to screw up your beautiful publication. And I really hope to do it again sometime. That would be awesome. Thank you.
Anytime, my man. Anytime, Poosh. Thanks so much. Thanks for listening, everyone. And if you enjoyed this episode, we strongly encourage you to become a member of the Golfers Journal, or if you already are, to share it with your friends. As a reader-supported publication, we couldn't do it without you. We also couldn't do it without the help of our partners, and they are Titleist, Scotty Cameron, FootJoy, Holderness and Bourne, Omega, Charles Schwab, and BMW. We'll see you next time on the Golfers Journal podcast.